Hi everyone, welcome back to Film Ranks. Today I'm going to talk about Squid Games Season 2. So I just want to let you know really quick, there are going to be spoilers. If you haven't seen Season 2, go ahead and watch that if you're a Squid Games fan. If you just want to know what happens without really watching it, this channel works for that kind of information too. So, you know, here's my breakdown, some opinions, and of course, just thoroughly review this season and give my final rank on what I think of season 2 of Squid Games. So, first and foremost, season 1 was definitely not going to be an easy season to outshine because it did so many things differently compared to most shows or sources of entertainment that are out there. Like, it was just so different and so refreshing. And going to season 2 didn't feel much different from season 1 was the aspect of the games, because we knew that in a way we were going to return to some of that stuff. So I guess if you were like interested more about the games and the actual purpose of the story, I think you would end up liking the season more than what a lot of people are going to give it credit for, because I think that the writing was just really lackluster. And of course, I'm going to get into major heavy review. I mean, I'm going to get into major spoilers that is going to spoil everything at this rate. So I would strongly advise watching the season unless you really don't mind knowing what happened. But yes, this season was kind of all over. It was like very messy. It was very messy because we get closer to Jihan, and what he's dealing with was the trauma that has been put on him winning the game, and him deciding not to leave his hometown to get justice for what happened during the Squid Game matches. And that makes sense. What doesn't make sense is his way of going about it. Of course, he recruits mercenaries and he tries to get them to infiltrate the base and apprehend the front man and the henchmen, but they seem extremely delusional about it, because once you get into the last episodes of the season, you can really tell that Jihan really didn't prepare well. And the only plot hole that really didn't make sense to me, that kind of annoyed me for the most part, was that they found a tracker in his tooth implant, and I was like, who would be able to even find that? Like, I don't know. Maybe a detector. Maybe they did an X-ray on him. I really don't know. Like, that just didn't make sense. But I guess for the purposes of mystery and plot holes, that happened, and I think it was unnecessary. Like, him having the GPS would have made sense, like, to be tracked and to have the base infiltrated. And even then, it seemed like kind of unimportant because the mercenaries already knew where the island was. It was just a matter of actually getting inside and not getting killed. And that just dragged out way too much in this season. And it's only because there's going to be a season 3 near the end of 2025. And I'm not exactly sure if it's going to be certain, because things can be pushed back, unfortunately. So let's hope for the best, and maybe it doesn't. But yeah, hopefully I can review that when it comes out too. But I wouldn't hold out too many high hopes, because there are many speculations on what could happen, right? And I wouldn't try to have high hopes, because the way this season went, like season 2, it was just such a mess. Like, the games were definitely interesting, the way they changed it and things like that. I'm not going to get into every single spoiler, of course, just like broad strokes. But of course, I think Jihan was just, again, like, very underprepared. Like, he definitely could have gone a different way of exposing the the location of where the Squid Games are happening, like all those death matches to win money. Like, he could have straight up just sent a bunch of drones and take video, or like tell the mercenaries to do that before he decided to put himself in the games. Like, and then putting himself in danger playing those games again doesn't make sense, because he is risking his life with each game and each player that could kill him at any time that they decide to. So I get, for the nostalgia bait, that like going back to the games, and that's what like hyped up, see, that's what hyped up Squid Games in the first place, the games. But also for a story to work about him trying to bring justice to all those people doing terrible things at that island, it doesn't make sense him going to play games again. Like, it doesn't, you know. And it almost reminds me of the Hunger Games and how Katniss decided to play again and again, even though it was like what she really needed to do was go after like the actual leader of the games and just stop it completely at its tracks, like not continuing to participate in the games where you are more than likely gonna die. Season 1 of Squid Games, in my opinion, like that was enough for me. Like, I don't feel like this show really needed a season 2 unless you were just that interested to see how Jihan was about to get his revenge or get justice. But it also just really feels like revenge at this point, because he's nonchalantly killing people too, so it's more like revenge. And it just seems like, again, it's like it sucks to see how underprepared he was, because he definitely was outnumbered. And I'm really not trying to spoil too much as I am spoiling some big moments in this, but it's hard not to talk about the key moments in this season. The last thing I could really say about this is that again, it's really hard to outshine season 1, and all of those emotional moments was a lot of wholesome characters. And I feel like the worst thing that could happen to Jihan is that he's gonna become corrupt, and he may be part of the games itself, like either a henchman or the next front man or something. Like, that's the worst thing that could happen. I don't think it will, but if it does, I think that's really going to take away from his character, and a lot of people are going to definitely hate him after that. So I really hope that doesn't happen. But I honestly think that season 3 is going to be him getting saved from his friends and the mercenaries that he hired, hopefully. And yeah, they just get their justice or revenge, whatever you want to call it. But that's what most likely seems like it's gonna happen. I think that there were a lot of interesting characters in season 2 that were kind of gimmicky, you know, just kind of like to laugh, having some comedic moments. But overall, I think that the story was just weak in this one. There was just too many plot holes. I think Jihan didn't think through his plan to get his revenge. For example, it just seemed like he was too caught up in his emotions that he couldn't really think of a better plan. And he, too many times in this season, was saved by plot harm. Too many times in this season, he was saved by plot armor, which was also kind of disturbing, because it would have been obvious for him to die many times, and he didn't really seem too bothered by that. Like, he almost seemed like it would have just been relief if he did die, instead of having to get his revenge. So that was a bit nonsensical. But like I say, my final ranking for this season is 6 out of 10. The first season is 9 out of 10. And yeah, this was a special review because I started my channel talking about Squid Games before any other review. So yeah, thank you to anyone who supports this channel. Please leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.